Welcome everyone, Sir Heroscape here today to officially announce the Champion Circle League, hosted by yours truly. What is it, do you ask? Well, the Champion Circle League is a competitive, online Heroscape league put on to bring Heroscapers from across the globe to compete for honor, riches, and glory. And there will be plenty of each to go around. The Champions Circle League will consist of 4 qualifying events throughout the entirety of the year, after which a final capstone event, the Champions Circle League Finals, bringing together the top finishers of all the events to compete for the greatest riches, the greatest glory, and the greatest honor. The top 16 players will fight for the rights to claim themselves a member of the Champions Circle. Well, for those of you watching, you might be asking yourselves, what does that actually mean? Well, that is the $1,000 question, isn't it? Quite literally. So let's jump right in and get you the details you're looking for. Well, just for a little bit of context, before we hop right into the details, I must say, this is exciting, you guys. Something like this doesn't happen just off of a whim. This is something I've been trying to work on for the last 3 or 4 months, ever since Age of Annihilation failed. Something that I've tried to put together a lot of effort in and hope that this can grow into something big, that the community can hold on to and gather around. There's limitations in local tournaments, size, travel time. There's limitations in something even like ScapeCon or Hexacon, just in similar fashion, right? Means to attend, right? An online competitive league that consistently has a massive prize pool and competitive games with competitive people is going to, I think, really revitalize and keep this community going for the next 12 years. We've made it this far. We kind of got shot in the knees with Age of Annihilation, and I had got that feeling like people were so excited and then let down by so much that we could really lose some momentum that had been gained. And I think this is another way to keep the community involved, excited, and just continuing to participate. And so today, this announcement is going to get you guys excited. And if it's not, I don't know what the heck's wrong with you. Because I am not kidding when I say there is $1,000 prize pool. $1,000 prize pool. Just like the header says in this video, just like my thumbnail says, the community has come out. You guys have talked to me this last week, and you guys have provided feedback, great information from that survey that I set out, and some of you have directly communicated with me your willingness to participate by donating and sponsoring these events. So for this year, for 2023, season 1 of Champion Circle League will have $1,000 plus prize pool. Let that sink in for just a second. Just a second. A Heroscape League, something that's been dead for 13 years, something that we've kept going, is going to have $1,000 plus prize pool in its events this year, in this league that I'm hosting. That's pretty incredible. That's because of you guys. That's because you guys recognize that this is something important and that you want to be a part of. And so as a community, we're keeping each other active, we're keeping each other excited, and this is going to be some of the best fun we've had, is fighting for the rights to join the Champion Circle and to gain some honor and glory, right? So let's jump right in. Let's look at those details. Enough talk. Let's fight. All right, so the Champion Circle League, we're going to look at the schedule here. So for this year, I've already announced March, Saturday, the 4th of March, 2023, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's going to be the CCL qualifier number 1. Those are going to consist of the Delta format. So that's going to be Delta Classic, 495 points, 15-figure limit. I'll talk about that specifically here a little bit later, at least what is Delta and what does Classic mean as well. Entry fees. Entry fees are going to be $8 for each qualifier event. and the finals event won't have an entry fee because it's going to be invitational. So note that you've got the kind of the top, you've got the details here. I've scheduled it out for the full year, so you can put in your calendars each qualifying event. So June, September, November are going to be essentially, it's the first weekend of each month, every quarter. But it's a little bit of a tighter schedule here for September, November, because I want to make sure that we have time in the finals to do a finals round early December, so that those people in the finals can take their winnings and buy some Christmas presents. So we've got the full schedule here. $8 entry fee. You guys provided some really good feedback on the entry fee on the survey. Many of you were more than willing to participate in events that were more than that. But I felt like $8 was a good medium between all the different data that I received feedback from you guys, because it's entirely pooled back into the community. So if 50 of you guys sign up and play in this tournament, that is a heck of a lot of entry fees that are going to go towards the prize pool and back at you guys, right? And it incentivizes you, okay? And you'll note here, the prize list. This prize list is a laundry list of prizes, and the entry fee is just one small part of that. So prizes, first place prize in the qualifying round. First place prize is going to get $100 store credit to the Good Home Games eBay store. They're going to get $50 cash from myself. You can get $25 cash minimum from the entry fees, and that's subject to change based off of how many people attend. So I guess if there's 2 people, that number technically is going to go down, right? But I anticipate, based off the interest you've shown, that number is going to go up. So I'm saying $25 minimum. Again, we might, to my discretion, I'll kind of, if we get 100 people, okay, let's sweeten the pot and make the first place a little bit bigger and make it a little more competitive, or maybe distribute it out a little bit more. We'll see. But that is kind of the minimum. Custom Sir Heroscape dice set. I'm currently working on the designs right now. I've got that in the works in the back end. I'll make sure to provide some more details on that specifically going forward and what those look like and how those are designed. But those are going to be a 12 set of dice with 1d20. I'm going to have some custom Sir Heroscape order markers, and then some custom Sir Heroscape dice bag to go with it. So you're getting a full set included with all this compensation through store credit and cash. Second place, you're getting $50 store credit to Good Home Games. You're getting a $25 cash minimum for entry fees. Third place, $25 cash minimum entry fees. Fourth place, and so on. Fifth through eighth place. So the base minimum is first through fourth is going to get prizes. Fifth through eighth will get prizes based off of entry fees. So if we have a ton of people participating, then we'll start to be able to trickle down the entry fee prize pool down to the fifth through eighth placers. I'm not going to go any farther than that. I think there is a lot to be said about incentivizing people to, play and play well. But also if we continue to, put too much spread out, then you end up just getting your $8 back. So if you place 20th and you get your $8 back, I don't know. It doesn't seem like much of an incentive to me. So obviously this largely depends on again, the pool, right? If we get 200 people participating, well, things start to get crazy. So for now, this is how it's set up, and subject to change, right? Other prizes, if there's other donations along the way before the event starts, I'll make sure to list those, and I'll kind of determine where those prizes will fall. Depending on what those are, we might have a selection for the placers. But full disclosure here, the entry fees will be 100% used for prizes. Some of the prizes will be reimbursed to myself or others, such as dice, for example, to pay for materials. And the rest is used as the cash prizes for the finishers. So for example, on day one, if we come up and there's, 40 people that participate, and you in your head say, 40 times 8 equals X number of entry fees, I would, and you're expecting to get X number of dollars for placing first or whatever, the math might not exactly work out, right? And my point to that is some of those entry fees will need to go towards the prizes like dice and things to pay for those materials. So I'm just being fully honest and a full disclosure. And as I said here, I'm willing to provide receipts upon request. Not that, any of you think I'm going to be shady on the back end, but I just want to make sure that you're aware,
since this is going to be a big event with lots of people and obviously money is involved with prices, I just want to be forefront and with you guys that entry fee will be spent on prizes 100%. But sometimes I have to reimburse those prizes that I'm purchasing beforehand in order to get it ready for the tournament. Make sense? Hope so. If you have any questions, let me know. Reach out personally. Just want to make sure you're aware. So the events are copied across. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. The difference here is on the finals. I want you to take a look at that. Notice the formats are to be determined on these other ones. I haven't nailed down the details for that. You don't need to really worry about it as of yet. Invitational is no entry fee. That's going to be the 16 placers are invited to that for season one. Whoever's placed the highest throughout the 4 events. The prizes for first place do change. The final, you're going to get $250 of store credit to Good Home Games, $50 cash still for myself. You're going to get a custom set of Champion Circle League dice. These are not the Heroscape dice. These are going to be a different custom set of Champion Circle League dice. Same thing, 12 dice, 1d20, custom order markers, custom dice bag. And then the second place is going to get $100 of store credit from Good Home Games. Third place is going to get $50. Other prizes obviously may be involved. So get excited. Holy heck, you guys. Putting this together, once I kind of started compiling all this information, I just got the goosebumps, man. I mean, this is something special. Like, I cannot tell you how awesome this is that we're going to, have some fun with this. Fight for the rights to take home the trophy, man. This is going to be good stuff. All right, let's move on. So qualifying rounds, attendees, there's no limit. If that ends up being 100 different people, then we're going to find a way to make it work with 100 different people, but there's going to be no limit. Tournament type is going to be Swiss style. So we're going to play all rounds. The tournament format is going to be varied. That'll be selected by me, but announced, with plenty of time for you guys to prepare. Army submissions are going to be 48 hours prior to the event start. So what I mean by that is when you guys submit your armies, you actually can't submit them like 2 months in advance. You're going to submit them 2 days beforehand. So right before the event starts, you submit your armies and get those officially in the system. Timer is going to be 15-minute rounds, 15-minute warning, last round 5-minute warning right before the end. Game goes to time. You count the points based off of what's on the board using the heroscape.org tool. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Map pool is predetermined by myself. It's going to be roughly between 6 and 8 maps, depending on the event. And there'll be extra copies of that map if we have enough people that we need to. So again, if we have 12 people, well, then we only need one version of one copy of that map. If we have 50, we're going to need to do multiples, but the variance will be just between those 6 and 8 maps. You're not going to have 20 different maps, right? So for those of you that don't understand what Swiss style is, maybe you've never been to a tournament, maybe you hear about this today and you're like, holy heck, I want to participate. This is awesome. And you don't really understand what this means. Well, the Swiss style format, this is a basic way to outline it. So this image is assuming there's 16 people. Okay. So on round 1, you just do random pairings. So whatever happens, round 1, everyone's paired up and you play the game. By round 2, you're going to have 8 people that are 1-0 and 8 people that are 0-1, right? So you have these different brackets of rankings. So then you match up everyone that's a 1-0 and everyone that's an 0-1. So that by the end of round 2, you go into round 3, you're going to end up with a bunch of 2-0s, a bunch of 0-2s, and a bunch of 1-1s. And so that kind of determines who now matches up during that round. And the purpose is to play every round until you have an undefeated player. So round 3, and then you have round 4, which is 3-0, 3-0, 2-1s, 1s and 2s, and O's and 3s. And then by then after the final round 4, you're going to have your result, right? Again, this is assuming 16 players. You're going to have a 4-0, a 3-1, 2-2, 1s and 3s, and then an 0-4. And that's just how the distribution works with the 16-player Swiss format. So now, again, well, what if you go above 16? What if you get 20 or 30 or 40 people? Well, you still follow this model, but you have to end up with an undefeated player by the end, right? That's the winner of the tournament. So again, as this grows and as we have more and more people, this will end up being, pretty crazy. And, obviously we may have to update or change some things as we go along, but this is how we're doing it for now. So this is what you can expect, playing all rounds of the event. And by the end of the event, the undefeated player is the first place player. And then there's incentive to continue playing, because what if you're this, 1 in 3 person, right? And you're not doing so well that day. Well, the incentive to keep playing is that, again, your ranking is based over the course of an entire season, right? So every win is going to contribute to your ranking. So if you play in the first qualifier event and lay a big goose egg and don't play very well, but then you play 3 more events and you win all 3, or you do really well, maybe the overall placement actually has you in the top 10, right? All of a sudden, boom, you're in the finals event, right? And you get to play in that finals event. So there's incentive to continue to play even though you haven't performed well in one event. There's multiple events to kind of get yourself out of the hole and participate. All right, Champion Circle Finals. This finals event is going to be very similar to the qualifying events, except that the top 16 ranked during the season will participate. You must have attended 3 of the qualifying events. Again, I anticipate there being a lot of interest. So to be completely honest, this is the best way to just try and filter down and have those that are committed and participating in the community to be a part of it. And it's unfortunate if you've missed 2, you won't be able to participate, but that's still 2 events you can gain winnings from, right? I mean, if you're still in 2 events and you still win, even though you might not be invited to the finals, heck, you're still getting a bunch of awesome prizes, right? So there's still incentive from an individual basis to participate in these events, right? Because you can gain prizes and have fun and just enjoy Heroscape. But if you're trying to be a little bit more competitive, if you're trying to win a little bit of money, if you're trying to increase your ranking in the Champion Circle League and kind of prove yourself as a good competitive Heroscape player, then there's incentive to be at every event, right? And so obviously things come up, life events, and I anticipate also this first event, maybe people won't be able to attend just because, again, it's the first event, so maybe you already had things scheduled. But I anticipate future scheduling issues not to be as much an issue as long as I have those on your calendar. So at least 3 events you are required to be in the finals. So even if you've won 2 events and those were the only 2 events you attended, unfortunately, you won't be able to attend or you won't be invited to the finals. And that's just how it's going to be. Again, I anticipate there being a lot of interest. Obviously, we can ask questions, and obviously, as time goes on, maybe we make adjustments based off of feedback or based off of things that I run into. So I'll just say subject to change, but that's how we're doing it for now. Same thing, except single elimination. So this is not going to be a full round, play every round. This is going to be a 16-player single elimination. So it's 4 rounds, right? 16 players, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, you're going to have your champion. The format is going to be at my discretion. Initially, my thought is we're going to have the same format that all 16 people qualified in. Now, remember, the top 16 qualifiers have to have attended at least 3 of the qualifying events. So the odds of them all being in at least one of the same events is, I think, a pretty good odds. If they have to be 3 out of the 4, odds are they're all at one of those events. So if there is one event where all of them attended, that's going to be the format for the finals event. Because they'll use their same exact army that they did in that event. If there's multiple events where they were all there, then we'll determine. I'll use discretion to decide which format. Maybe I'll do a dice off or something. If there's no events, if somehow there's no events, that if one of them was gone for each event, and so they all don't match up, then we'll probably come up with a new format. And the reason for that is because if you have 15 players that played in the all same event, but there was one guy that was consistently gone, a different guy in each event, then that's one person that didn't have an army already built for that format. So they could go back and see who won, or they could go back and see what armies they liked, or see what armies were played and build a counter army, right? So we don't want that to happen. So that's how that's going to be run. Timers going to be a little bit different. So rounds 1 and 2 are going to keep to a 15-minute timer to try and keep it, going and not taking too long. 15-minute warning, last round warning, and it may go to time, but the semis and the finals will have no time limit. So the rounds 3 and 4, those final 4 players, no time limit on all those games. So those will be plenty of time to really be strategic, think out your positioning, and make your moves. Map pool, it's going to be the same as the qualifying rounds. So it's going to be the same map pool, but there's going to be bans. So we're going to do, each player will be able to take turns banning a map that they don't want to play on until there's 2 left. And then we're just going to do a dice roll between those final 2 maps, and then evens and odds will determine which map gets played. And that way, again, we're trying to make this competitive scene a little bit more balanced, right? So it's going to be armies that you've already played, potentially already seen from previous events. The maps are going to be maps you've already played and already seen. And then being able to ban maps helps just, again, hopefully balance the matchups a little bit so that people are happy with the maps they're playing on. All right, so single elimination, this is basically how it's going to work, right? So you've got seed 1 in the top left bracket. You've got your seed 2 in the bottom 4 bracket. This is kind of like, March Madness, right? The way it works is that you've got the top players in separate brackets. So then player 3 is over here in bracket 2, player 4 is in bracket 4. And the idea there is that based off of seeding, it theoretically should give the best chance for the highest players to win, right? Obviously, the better you perform throughout the year, the better seeding, the better placement you should have in the bracket. So seed 1, getting matched up against seed 16, right? And then as they work their way through, even if they win their full bracket, they're still going to go between the top 4 players. They're going to still be against a seed 4, theoretically, have the best chance to win, right? Same thing here with the seed 2 versus the seed 3, right? So seeding is important, right? So playing well and throughout the season of the Heroscape events of the Champion Circle qualifying events is going to theoretically give you a stronger position in the Invitational. All right, here are the 6 maps for the first qualifying event. This event is going to consist of Aeon, Battlefield 23, Platypus, Venom, Turmoil, and Stygian Rift. These are maps all directly from the War Grounds of Scape, which is a competitive map judging group that basically takes the best maps from all the different tournaments and scenes locally and compiles them into one space. And these are 6 of the best maps that I think from that group that will be used for this event. So get excited, research the maps, research how they've been used in the past by competitive players, and start playing on them. Get ready to rock and roll. All right, Heroscape.org. So this is the future of Heroscape. Now, I don't really mean that, but Heroscape.org is a new site that has been put together. It's still kind of in beta version, but it's been put together by Chris Perkins, who honestly is a wonderful member of the community, who's been putting in hours and hours of sweat and tears, I'm sure, blood, sweat, and tears into this site. It's been an incredible tool for tournaments. And so we're going to use it. This league, I really do hope to be one of the highly, if not the highest competitive league, for Heroscape. And so this site is going to help track that, right? You'll see on the site that there's leagues, seasons, and tournaments. So you're going to have the Champion Circle League. As a subsidiary of that, you're going to have individual seasons. A season is making up the full season, the full year of events. And then the tournaments is 4 qualifying events under each season, right? Is the way it's going to work for the Champion Circle League. So I'd say get familiar with the site. If you haven't gone there, get familiar, poke around. It's great. The army builder is incredible. It's a lot of fun because you can just sort and filter by all different kinds of points and personalities and kind of come up with armies, and it's really, really intuitive. What's important is that you get signed up today. Go on there. It's going to require an email confirmation. It's really quick and easy, but please make sure to sign up with your username from heroscapers.com or your Discord or something recognizable because we're going to need that. Specifically, if it matches your Discord, that's probably going to be better because when we do our events, we are going to use Discord for voice chat and kind of on the game day working through communication. So what is VC? What is classic and what does Delta mean? This is really important. I'm going to try and break it down in a very simple way for those of you that aren't as familiar with what VC is. VC specifically stands for Valhalla Customs, and that's the Heroscape community group that continues to release custom but balanced and unofficial official units. Ever since the Hasbro shut down Heroscape back in 2010, we had some of the original designers of Heroscape create this group some of the original designers, which I think says a lot about it, that they created this group and basically said, we're going to continue releasing Heroscape units in the same format essentially that we did when we were at Hasbro. We're gonna grab miniatures, we're gonna design them, we're gonna create cards, we're gonna play test them, we're gonna balance them as if they're a continuation of the Heroscape canon. And for the last 12 years, this group has done that, and they've produced an incredible library of units that has continued to prove to be highly competitive, enjoyable, and an extension to the Heroscape lore and canon. And so we will have some of these events with VC. And so I highly recommend you, if you're interested in participating, do your research. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, the information is out there and the units will be used. So if you're unfamiliar with them, you know, I'm sorry to say that's something you're going to have to work on and learning more about. Now, I will promise not every event will use them. In fact, this first event is just Delta Classic. And so we'll talk about that here in a second. Classic simply just means classic units. Classic units is that library of units that was created by Hasbro from 2006 to 2010. So all the original Heroscape is considered classic. So anytime that you see VC, that's going to indicate that we're using or allowing those units in the tournament. Classic is going to indicate that that's the only library of units used in the game. And in the Army Builder on Heroscape.org, you're going to see that those are options to select when you're filtering units. Same with Delta. Now, Delta, it's important that we talk about Delta here for a second, because Delta is the community's, a group in the community that has done a ton of work, hours and hours of work to provide new prices for units. So, for example, Q9, one of the most broken, extremely powerful units in the game, originally was costed at 180 points. He is now in the Delta format costed at 250. Raylan, Rise of the Valkyrie, one of the most broken units in the game, is originally costed at 80 points. In the Delta format, she's costed at 135, right? And so you have these units from the classic realm that feel very overpriced or very underpriced based off of what they are, right? Templar Cavalry, one of the most amazing miniatures in the game, is at 120 points in classic, but in Delta, they're 80 points. So now all of a sudden, heck, you might be able to run a Templar Cavalry squad, you know, or two in your army instead of not at all. So what this has done is and I will say that some of the best players in the game globally, and when I say globally, I mean like Doc, Chris Perkins, well, those are the two that come to mind, but there's a few others. They're the ones that run this group. So they, every quarter, I think it's every quarter, every 3 months, they're constantly going through, and based off of the results of current live Heroscape tournaments, whether it's online or in person, they evaluate the results of those and make tweaks based off of units and how they fluctuate in the competitive scene. Because as you release new units, or as old units are being, you know, found to be really effective in XYZ format, that price may shift or need to be realigned. And so they'll go ahead and update those values every quarter or so. But it'll always be up to date on the site. So even if, you know, they update it, you won't necessarily notice a difference, because it'll just be the new value on the site. So it's important that you understand that, because this first event is going to be Delta Classic. So a classic library of units, but the Delta pricing. So if you want to run Q9, you're going to be running him at a 250 point clip, not 180. But what that does is the idea is to try and balance the units to a point where you can come to the Heroscape events with a balanced army with units that might not necessarily be as competitive in the classic sense, right? Okay, payment. $8 entry fee, PayPal me, heroscaperforlife@gmail.com. Friends and family only. If you don't have a PayPal, if you don't have a way to get around that, message me personally. We'll try and make it work. But that is the way to do it. So again, if you have issues, let me know. Please include in your comments your username, and it needs to match your heroscape.org username. There's going to be nothing more frustrating than trying to figure out who the heck just paid me money to enter the tournament, and I cannot match a name to a name, right? So please be mindful of that. Make sure in the comments you're being very clear, especially if you're paying for multiple people. And I will drop players from the event prior to it starting if I don't have a payment I just will. I mean, this is going to be a massive tournament with massive implications for prizes. And I just can't afford to have players playing it, and not have paid. So it's just going to be something that I'm going to have a hard, fast rule on. And obviously, communicate with me if you're having issues, but we're just going to keep it there. Sponsorship and donations. For those of you who have already been an amazing member of the community and been willing to provide, sponsorship or, donations for the prizes, thank you. You're beloved of the community, and this is going to be awesome. For those of you that haven't yet, and I say yet because I anticipate more coming, this is a great opportunity. If you've got a store, if you've got a skill at maybe painting or 3D printing or something, I'm more than happy to promote your store or skill or whatever it is that it may be. So contact me. Now, I will say that I'm not just going to do free promotions, right? I think it's important that, if you want promotions, then, maybe throw something in the prize pool or something, right? Talk to me and we'll figure something out. But I think it's important that, members of the community who want, a little bit of self-promotion, I have no problem, having this be a place that you can do that. But again, let's sweeten the pot a little bit if we're going to do it that way. Okay. Nothing like having a massive prize pool for people to fight for. Sir Heroscape Discord. I'll have a link in the description, but this new Sir Heroscape Discord is live. That's the direct link right there. Obviously, if you can screenshot that and copy it down, go for it. Otherwise, just go to the description of the video. I'll have it linked there and join in, because stuff's going to get crazy. And I can't do a YouTube video every day when a new announcement or something changes or updates happen on the time, real time. So this is the best way. Officially, I'll do announcements through my YouTube channel, and so that will be the primary source of communication. But inevitably, with a large group of people who plan to participate and fight for the rights of, everything, beloved and, in the prize pool, I'm going to have to, make updates as things, change and whatever the case may be, right? And I need you guys to know when those things change. That's important, right? That you're aware of that. So I've created a Discord where the community of my YouTube channel can live a little bit and have real-time information and, hang out, socialize, communicate. That's also where we're going to run, again, on game day. That's where we're going to have our real-time communication. So if you don't have access to the Discord app, please download it. If you have an issue with that, let me know. But that's where we're going to communicate through game day.
I hope you guys are as excited about this as I am. The Champions Circle League is just starting, and I just can't wait to see where it goes from here. Hopefully we can get this thing to become kind of a main, staple of the Heroscape community, where this becomes a competitive format for anyone and everyone to participate, and gives a good shot for people to, build some accolades and their ability to play good Heroscape and maybe make a little bit of money, and on the side, just have fun, right? For those that are hyper competitive, this will be a great opportunity, again, to show your mettle on the biggest stage, right? And it's my intention and hope that, I can cast some of those live games, for specifically probably the finals event, not the qualifiers, because I'll participate. And heck, if I make it to the qualifier, or if I make it to the finals, and, we'll see how I do. But I hope to do content, to cast some of those events as well. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity here, and I'm just really excited. Do please make sure to go on heroscape.org, and if you're not already signed up, please get signed up and go ahead and submit to the event. The event's open. It's on there under Sir Heroscape's Champion Circle League. It'll be one of the events there that you can sign right up and get going. Also, the Discord, please also be on the Discord so that you can get notifications. I'm not as savvy on Discord as some Discords may be. I'm sure you've been on some Discord channels and servers that are just, really automated and fully built out. I tried to build it out as much as I could for now. Over time, I will continue to add more automation or channels or pings or different, ways to stay involved. But for now, we'll just kind of keep it light. And yeah, I'm just super excited, you guys. So let's keep this thing going. Go ahead and sign up, and I'll keep you updated in the coming weeks as we continue forward with this. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.